Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Shadan and I'm a clinical counselor. And today we will discuss ADHD as a genetic condition and how parent-child relationship can be a game changer. ADHD is often described as a genetic condition, and that's true. But what's often misunderstood is what genetic actually means. So genetic doesn't mean fixed, and it doesn't mean that it's caused by parenting. And it doesn't mean that relationships don't matter. Today I will explain how ADHD develops through the interaction between biology and early relationships. ADHD is highly heritable. That means many children are born with a more sensitive nervous system. And this sensitivity often shows up as difficulty regulating attention, difficulty regulating impulses, and difficulty regulating emotions. What's important to understand is this: ADHD brains are not broken. They are more reactive, more responsive, and more sensitive to input. And sensitive systems are shaped more strongly by experience. And genes don't act alone. They need an environment to tell them how to behave. And this is exactly where epigenetics come in, which means a child may carry a genetic vulnerability for ADHD, but whether that vulnerability becomes impairing depends heavily on things like stress level, predictability, emotional safety, and attuned caregiving. The parent-child relationship does not cause ADHD, but it can buffer or amplify how ADHD shows up. And here is why. Children with ADHD often miss cues. They react quickly, struggle with regulation, and need more repetition. And when the caregiving environment is responsive, predictable, and emotionally attuned, the child's nervous system will learn, I am safe even when I'm dysregulated. And this helps the brain to develop stronger regulation pathways. When the environment is highly stressed, chaotic, or mismatched, the nervous system stays in survival mode. That doesn't create ADHD, but it can intensify how it's expressed. ADHD brains develop through the same process as all brains, which is serve and return, like a tennis match. The child shows interest, that's the serve, and the adult responds with attention, that's the return. Eye contact, tone of voice, touch, shared attention, curiosity. When this back and forth happens repeatedly, it strengthens neural circuits for skills. But passive experiences like screen times without interaction don't build the same circuitry. And ADHD children often serve more intensely, more frequently, and in less conventional ways. When caregivers respond with curiosity instead of correction, structure instead of punishment, and regulation instead of urgency, the child's brain builds stronger foundations for attention, for emotional regulation, and executive functioning. This is why ADHD support is relational, not just behavioral. Many children with ADHD grow up hearing, try harder, you know better, why can't you just be quiet? But here is the truth. ADHD is not a motivation problem. It's a regulation difference. When a child's behavior is repeatedly misunderstood, relationships become strained and shame begins to shape. That's why repairing the relational context matters so much. So for parents, this is not about doing things perfectly. It's about repair. And for adults with ADHD, your struggles were not personal failure. Your nervous system adapted to what it had. And with safety, support, and understanding, new pathways can still form. ADHD is shaped by biology, it is influenced by relationships, and it is supported, not fixed, through safety. Genes are not destiny, and relationships don't cause ADHD. They shape how it's lived. Thank you for being here.